Well, Lena, thank you so much for being here with me on the Entrepreneurial Success Podcast. I am truly thrilled about today's episode because we're going to talk about something that people might have heard about, or people that haven't heard about it might be very curious. And I'm hoping for those of you listening will be very curious about this. Before we get started, Lena, why don't I hand over to you so you can introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. So first of all, Henrietta, thank you so much for having me. So my name is Lena, and we kind of both established some commonalities there already. We're both from South Africa originally. I've been in the UK for about 16 years. I actually came here with my job. I was in corporate for about 15 years as a computer programmer, architect, business analyst. So nothing to do with what I'm doing right now. And in 2018, I kind of had, I guess, this awakening call. I don't really know how to explain it, but I realized that my life was ticking by and I wasn't really living my life as whatever that was meant to be, but that certainly wasn't what I was having. So I made a lot of changes. I quit my job, a lot of personal changes, and I've set up my business. And, I had this mindset that I was really successful, like six-figure contractor in London and have amazing contacts everywhere. I was working from home. I was like, people said to me, how do you do that? How is it that you work so little and, you have this amazing lifestyle? And I didn't know how I was creating all of this. It was so natural. And I thought, well, I did so well in my work. I will do the same in business, right? I'll just study hard. I will invest in coaches. I will invest in marketing, whatever. I will just went completely full on into it. But the harder I worked, the less I got. It was actually completely, counterintuitive, counterproductive. But then I pushed and I pushed and I pushed because that's how we are really designed to live. We're designed to take massive actions, to initiate, to force. And I finally burnt out. And it was a really unusual feeling for me because, well, I've never burnt out before. I always had hips and bounds of energy. I used to run ultra marathons, and there is me. I couldn't even type on my laptop. And I was like, what is going on? And interestingly enough, just as that burnout happened, when I was figuring out have I gone crazy? Literally, I was like, have I gone crazy? I've canceled all the meetings in my diary. And the last meeting I had was with a lady who actually mentioned to me human design. And that's how the whole really journey started with human design.
Oh my gosh. And like I said, I only came across human design about 6 months ago. So for me, it's still fairly new as well. I'm still learning a lot about it, but I am a very curious person. And like I said, I hope for the audience listening to this, if this is the first time you hearing about human design, it is a concept, okay? And we're going to share this with you. So I want to jump in straight into human design, if that's okay with you. Can you tell us a little bit about what is human design?
So I call it more like a spiritual scientific tool, and it's a blend of various different modalities. I guess there is a mixture of astrology, I Ching, Kabbalah, and also quantum science. And what really resonated with me a lot, it's something actually tangible. So it's not like, I've got a big spiritual practice. I meditate, I do, all of this other kind of self-work, but it's nothing to kind of pick up and look at. It's like, where am I out of order here? What's not working? Why is my body hurting? Why am I feeling fear? None of that. It's like something that you kind of have to intuitively feel. While with human design, it literally gives you your map, your blueprint of how you could be navigating through life if you only lived as your true self. So it actually helps you to remember who you are not. It helps you to unravel all of this conditioning, all of these patterns, all of this limiting beliefs that have been building up on layer on layer on layer for so many years.
I know, and I love the concept because it's exactly like you said. For us growing up from a young age, there's so many beliefs and so many stories, other people's beliefs and stories that we just load on. And it's just this luggage that we're taking with us, and we're carrying basically other people's luggage. So I love the fact that you're saying it's about who you are truly as an individual before all of that luggage, before all of these beliefs are added on.
Exactly. Yeah. Reminds us really that we are human beings, not human doings, and that's what we've been doing for so many years. We associate our self-worth, how valuable we are with the amount of stuff we do, with the kind of jobs we work, or how big our business. And all of a sudden, when you have like a big career change, or when you even give up your career and you start something new, you don't see the tangible results, you feel like you're not valuable, and you put so much guilt and so much pressure on yourself. And that's why I love this tool so much, because firstly, not it only helps you to take a lot of pressure off yourself. It's like, well, now this makes so much sense about me. Yes, I am different because I'm designed differently, and I'm actually going to own it. I'm going to use it to my advantage. So you release that energy that kept you stuck, that kept you frustrated and always apologizing to others. Now you've got extra energy available that you can use towards something a lot greater.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And this is kind of beautifully leading on to the next thing that we want to talk about, those energies of overwhelm and just feeling stuck constantly. And I get this a lot personally, but also I see it a lot from clients coming to me. There's a lot of overwhelm, and a lot of us do feel stuck. A lot of us do feel frustrated, whether it's in personal life or in business. But what are those energies that go with it? Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure. So in human design, it talks about 5 different energy types. So every person will kind of, I guess, be like a category, well, like an element of that energy. So you've got generators, who are the majority of population. Is about, 70% generators and manifesting generators. Then you have manifestors, you've got projectors, and you've got reflectors. So based on your date and time and place of birth, it kind of spits out that body graph, which is your map. It's your compass through life. And by looking at it, initially it looks quite overwhelming, because there's a lot of astrology, there's a lot of I Ching in it. There's, this Hindu chakra system, which are the energy centers. And, but once you kind of start going through it and understanding what it is, I mean, to me, when I first kind of began to really dive into it and understanding it, I was like, that thing knows me better. It knows me, not even the way I am now, but the way I was as a little girl. I'm like, how is that possible? How? It just completely blew my mind. So according to whichever energy type you are, you send out energy in a very specific way, and you absorb energy also in a very different way. You have your own strategy to navigate through life, and it's actually called strategy. So, for example, if you're a generator like me, which is majority of the population, your strategy is to wait, to respond. So we are not here to initiate, to force, to start things. We are literally here responding, and you are responding to everything in your life. And that made so much sense to me why I burnt out, because I was a network marketing business. And if you think about traditional network marketing, right, how does even normal marketing teaches you? You build the funnels, you do this, you start the Facebook ads, you run them, you reach out to people, and especially network marketing. You've got to talk to all your friends, and all of this, you're initiating, and it's the wrong use of the energy. So when I understood that, and I actually thought, okay, well, I mean, that was like the scariest thing I've ever done, just letting go of that initiation part. And I thought, I'm not going to sit and do nothing, but I'm going to find something that lights me up. Because for us as generators, it's all about the pool, that sacral, that response, like that, whatever makes you happy. And I thought, I'm just going to do that and see what happens in my life. And I tell you, I mean, people were just coming, my clients just started coming to me. I don't even know how they were finding me. I started getting speaking opportunities, all of these new possibilities that started manifesting in my life just because I was using my energy correctly. Yeah. And the only type really, sort of the 5 energy types you have in human design, it's only manifestors, which is like 7 or 8%. That's the only type who's designed to go out there and initiate. They are the ones that used to be those like kings and queens and the pharaohs. They're the ones that get armies into the field, and then they back off and they let the generators do the job. So for them, they initiate, but there's 7-8%, while rest of us in the world, we're running around being manifestors, and we're just not designed. And that's how the burnout happens. Well, amongst other things, but that's the most common one.
Oh my gosh, that is so interesting. And it's so funny as you were talking through, because I've got a human design app on my phone, and I did the human design for myself. And as you were saying, I was like, yep, that's me. I'm there. Actually, while I'm going to be here, let's do this now. Let me just quickly find the app, because I can't even remember what it said. Bear with me 1 second. Worst case, I will edit this out. But yes, a generator. There you go.
Can you show me on your phone? Can you turn your
Yeah.
phone just quickly?
I don't know if everybody
Put
can
it
see.
down. Put it down a bit. Hold on. I just want to look. Oh my gosh, you've got the same profile as me.
There you go. How
You're also
funny.
3'5". Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting. We're actually
Well,
very, very
maybe
similar.
we should have a conversation outside of this podcast episode. But I just find it so interesting because as you're talking it through, this is exactly that image. It's exactly what I have right there, and the generator and the energy. And I think it's really important because it is true when somebody pointed out that I'm a generator as well. I was like, oh, so I am definitely meant to do what I'm doing. Not that I questioned it, but it just made sense why I chose to be a business coach, why I chose this profession that I'm in, or why I even made decisions in the past with different things, professions, different things that I enjoy doing. So I do find it very interesting. It is really, it kind of boggles the mind in some senses. But at the same time, there's another thing that I think people stumble on, or it is a stumbling block, let's face it, and that's overthinking. Oh my gosh, we love to overthink, especially if we want something badly. We love to overthink and complicate things for ourselves. So what is your concept on that?
Yeah, it's interesting you touched on that because that's actually where I decided my passion lies, really, is to become the intuitive decision and a sole purpose coach to help people to get out of their heads and literally drop into their body for the intuitive decision making. And, some people still dismiss it as like a woo-woo thing. But even if you look at Einstein, the way he talks about the imagination, about the subconscious mind, about the creativity, he say something about the logical mind being the slave, and yet we trust the slave to make decisions for us. So all of the great minds, like Edison, I know he was also one of the big ones for the intuitive thinking. They all had this massive, inspiring ideas from the intuition. I remember even with Edison, I heard the story that whenever he was stuck, he would like go and like doze a bit in his chair, and he had this bell. And when the chair kind of drops back a bit, the bell will ring and he'll wake up and he'll have an idea. And that's all about the intuition. But majority of people, what they do, they're trying to make decisions here. And that's fine. Logical mind, I'm not saying we don't need it because we need it for creation, for creativity, for inspiration, for ideas. But when it comes to making a decision, and especially a big decision, maybe somebody, let's say, wants to leave the job or start a business, this is a massive decision. They can't make that decision from the mind because they've never done it before. Mm-hmm. So the mind is just simply doesn't know, because everything is going to tell them is going to be based on the past previous experiences.
Yeah.
And it's very limited. You can't go beyond it. But once in human design, they call it deconditioning. Once you learn how to get out of your minds and follow your authority. So authority, that's your inner decision process. So for generators, they can be sacral authority or they can be emotional. And depending on the authority, you are designed to make decisions either right in the now, or you need a certain time to wait. Mm-hmm. But if your decision is in the now, and then you choose to wait, that's your mind kicking in. And that can also burn you out. It can even lower your immune system. It can cause so much stress. It can really, really be kind of damaging to your health, because the more you make decisions from here, the more disconnected you are from your body. And then it's like, there's just the two of you, you don't know who's what anymore.
Yeah. And I think it's so powerful as well, because we all like to use the term, oh gosh, I'm overthinking things again. But it is actually a thing. It's not just a term that we use. It is an actual thing. It's that disconnect between your intuition and between your brain. And I want to talk a little bit more about intuition, because a lot of us also talk about it as the sixth sense. And I do find that these days, with all of these external factors, all these external energies, bombardments coming in on a daily basis, we kind of lose that kind of touch to tap into our sixth sense, basically, or our intuition, whatever the term is that you might use. But from your experience, you kind of touch upon that a little bit. How is it that we can get in touch with our intuition again, so to speak?
Mm-hmm. So it's actually interesting because I did the actual whole masterclass on this just the other day about intuitive decision making. And what people don't realize is that they're actually almost running away from themselves. They are so busy compiling things to do into their day. And I was like the worst. I was like just busy, you know, and even if I had time to sit down, I would just go and do something more with the kids. And it was like not sustainable. So the way is really to begin to connect to yourself, and it looks different for everyone, you know. I mean, for me, even though for years I did guided meditation, I'm a big fan of Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I did a lot of his meditations. But now I find that actually it's still noise, you know, it's still somebody else telling me what to do. I still do them, but not on a regular basis. So what worked for me amazing, and initially it was really, really tough, is just literally sitting on a couch and closing my eyes, you know. And now and then I started practicing some channeling, because initially what started happening, I would like get like words or sentences coming in, and sometimes I'd even like hear the whole conversation playing out, only to have the same conversation later on with another person, but word to word. And I was like, well, that's useless to me. Like, it's not doing me any good. So then I started going really into the sessions with more specific questions, with intentions. And, you know, sometimes like, because obviously I've got my business, right? So I've got to write a post on Instagram or LinkedIn. And before I would sit in front of my computer and would like, right, what should I write? So should I talk about this? Now, if there's no inspiration coming through, for me, it works like a magic. I literally go on a couch, I put my timer on 20 minutes, and I just ask for inspiration to come. And you know what? I don't even remember a single time when I haven't received something. Sometimes it will be a whole quote, sometimes it's a poem, sometimes it's just even like one word, but I can make a story out of it. And usually these kind of stories, that's the ones that really get attention, because they're different, they're unique, and they really come from within you. So my first suggestion would be make space. Like literally, you can't have that inspiration. You can't have ideas, because even the universe wants to send them to you, but you can't hold them. You're not available to them. So making space is very important.
Oh my gosh. And as you're talking, I'm shaking my head vigorously, because I agree with you. I am a huge fan of meditating, and I do it every single day. Actually, first thing in the morning before I start getting busy, and in the evening when I go to bed, that's when I meditate. And it is so true, as you're saying, you know, it's everybody makes meditation to be this difficult thing. Maybe in the beginning, it's something you've got to get used to, and guided meditations are great for that. But I myself, I put a little bit of music on and I just sit on my sofa. And it is the best feeling in the world. And it's about setting your intention for that day. What is it that you need to achieve that day? When you set that intention, when you ask that question in order to have the outcome you want, yeah, I get it. I get the outcomes all the time. Like you said, it comes in words, comes in pictures. Everybody's different. Everybody's got their own thing. It comes through having a conversation, you popping up and say, hey, I would love to come on your podcast. You know, this is the crazy things, that things just appear, and we think they appear out of the blue, but actually you have kind of tuned into your intuition, and you've asked the right question in order to guide you, show you an opportunity, or bring something to you that it is that you wanted. That's called manifesting, but you can't manifest if you don't tune in to your own sixth sense and intuition.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, the thing is, to be honest, we are manifesting all the time, right? We're always pulling something into our reality. It's just the question is, what are we pulling? What are we available for emotionally, you know? Because, and that's why I love human design, because it talks a lot about how we create things through that magnetic monopole, which lives behind our hearts, how it works and what it attracts. And, you know, I've listened to Esther Hicks and Bob Proctor and Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I love all of them, but human design was actually what gave me the answer to really, really understand about the power of our thoughts and the emotion and the electromagnetic signal that gets sent into the fields, where whatever we're feeling, right, because that has its own frequency, and whatever we pull back into our lives is a match to that frequency. So, you know, it's like thinking and feeling, and you get stuck in that loop and you just pull back whatever is you feeling, you know. So it's changing your thoughts, giving it a new meaning, not even changing them, but assigning a different meaning to your thoughts. That's what I think could really help.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because, you know, and I think, you know, just this conversation as just a little pinnacle of the human design element. There's so much more to it. And it just gets me so excited. Like I said, we can talk about this forever. But I think, you know, it's like anything in life. we as human beings, we are very curious in order to discover more about ourselves, which is why we do all of these tests, isn't it? We do IQ tests, we do tests in order to find what our strengths are, what kind of personalities we have. And it's all of those kind of things because we're so curious in order to discover more about ourselves, who we are. So if you are somebody who's very intrigued and do all of these tests and want to learn more about yourself, I think also from a very different element doing a human or talking to somebody who does the human design like Lena here, it's very much about discovering more about yourself without the baggage that we spoke about. And I think this is what makes it so powerful because again, this goes back to the decision making the right decisions for you, because we always sometimes procrastinate, wonder, overthink, get overwhelmed because we don't want to make the wrong decision. But I think if you kind of look at the elements in the human design and look at what your energies are and all the other things that go with it, decision making would actually become so much easier. Am I wrong for saying that, Lena?
No, you're absolutely right. Decision making definitely becomes something you do intuitively, because if you think how much time it takes to make a decision, and then you make a decision and then it's like, was it a right one? So you start doubting, and because you doubt, you obviously get more doubts, and then you run maybe even with this whole like launch, or a product or a program, and then just it flops because the energy, the frequency of your decision wasn't aligned with who you are. So that helps you not just to make the right decisions, but to shave off, I think, years, trying to get to where you want to be. But for me, I think human design, decision making was great. But initially, I really went there because I wanted to really know what is my purpose in life. And that's what also human design answers, and not the way astrology does, because it shows you both elements. It shows you who you think you are and who you truly are. And looking in the energies in the sun and the earth and the moon, in the nodes, that's kind of weaves like the whole your story, not just of even this incarnation, but like your whole life story, the energies that drive you, your spiritual purpose. For me, that was the most fascinating aspect of human design, because I also feel when you know your purpose, you are more kind of unshakable in yourself, because even if you're always under pressure from society, from friends, from family to make certain decisions, but when you know who you are, you know your purpose, all of that noise really falls away. It's like you become like unapologetically you. And on a days where you don't feel like getting out of bed because maybe your business is not working or your kids are driving you crazy, it's your purpose that gets you out of bed. It gives you the drive forward, and until you know that, I think it's really, really hard to make decisions that are true for you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love this conversation. And like I said, only because I'm very curious. I want to know more about this. I've only picked up a pinnacle of it, and I'm just running with that. So I think everybody else here who is curious about this would obviously like to learn a little bit more about human design. So in order to conclude all of this, you have got an amazing availability here for everybody where you're offering a 30-minute free consultation for everyone. Tell us a little bit about what you're going to do with this consultation.
Yeah, so at this consultation, obviously we can't go too deep into human design, but at least, I think understanding of the energy type, and also how you're naturally designed to make decisions and communicate. It's probably something achievable, just a brief introduction, In traditional human design, it takes 7 years to really decondition. I don't feel it needs to be that long. But this is just a little bit of information which can, be quite interesting if someone really wants to dig into themselves and understand what is their purpose in this life.
Yeah. And like I said, I just did a little thing on an app just to find out what my human design is. But I promise you this, even when I looked at that human design thing and all of these things it gave me back and all of this information, I was like, huh? I have got no clue what they're talking about. But I think this is the important part, talking to somebody like you who has that background information, who's got the knowledge in order to share what your human design is, what your energy type is. I think that makes it so interesting. So for those of you listening, if you really want to dig a little bit deeper and understand more about yourself, maybe try and do it through the human design element and go and schedule a call, a 30-minute free call with Lena. And, I'm sure you're going to walk away stunned from that 30 minutes, and it will just be mind-blowing. So I'm definitely going to put the details below in the show notes. So go and schedule a call with Lena. And then also, if you want to connect with Lena, I'll make sure that her LinkedIn details are also available, and also Instagram. So send her a message there, connect with her, stalk her, check her out a little bit. And I'm sure if you want to get in touch with her, by all means, she would love to have a chat with you. Oh my gosh, Lena, I'm definitely going to schedule a 30-minute free call with you, if that's okay. I'm going to take you up on that offer. But no, this is absolutely fascinating. I mean, before we go, is there one last little tip that you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, what I think a lot of people are really stuck in their lives, and I work with corporates, especially people who are not sure what to do with the job, they're not feeling fulfilled, and they're just making so many excuses, as to why they cannot change anything. Because they're dependent on the income, on their finances, on whatever, and the timing is never right. And I think we all have a choice whether we keep on creating our life by default, like we've always done, or whether we make a change and choose consciously and create it consciously. And from personal experience, I had no clue what I've done. I've given up my 6-figure job. I had 2 kids in private schools. I had no clue how I'm going to pay the bills. But I just followed that inner guidance. We all have it. And the more you suppress it, the more I think lonely and miserable your life will be eventually. So just come and chat to me. I would love to help you to make not even leave your job, but just to make a change in your life that is right for you, really.
Yeah. And I think this is the important part, because we all want to make decisions, but we don't know what is the underlying thing that we need to use as a guide in order to make decisions. And I think this is where the human design element is so important, because powerful even, because it can really help you really dig in deeply and make the right decisions. And hey, maybe you need to stick with that job. You just need to change
Exactly.
1 or 2 things. You will be so surprised.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, Lena, thank you so much for being here with me. You know what? I think even after we hit the stop button, after we finish this recording, you and I are still going to have a conversation. Thank you so much for being here and sharing, this kind of like, how can I say, this golden nugget with everybody, and just for everybody out there listening. Obviously there are so many things that can guide you, that can help you in order to make the right decisions in life. It all comes just back down to you discovering more about who you are, your own authenticity, what is aligned with you. And if we can use these kind of tools to guide us, to help us make decisions, then why not? I think we're all curious and we all want to know a little bit more about ourselves. So one last thought, go and get it, and go and connect with Lena. I'm sure she'd be happy to have a chat with you. Lena, we'll be in touch fairly soon again. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.